Hello back and welcome to part 2 of building the favorite meals section. Let's go straight back into brackets. So let's continue formatting this section. Now the first thing we notice, and that we didn't correct yet, is this large distance between these two sections, which doesn't look natural. And that's because this section, like the other section as well, has a big padding, which goes like until here. We actually don't want this section to have padding because it's a different section. It doesn't have a title and everything, so we don't want this section to have a padding like that. So let's quickly correct that. So this section is called section, I honestly don't remember, meals, of course. So section meals, I will say padding 0, and that should solve the problem. Yeah, so this looks much better. And next we will do that animation I was telling you about. Now what this animation is all about is that when we hover one of the images, the image kind of zooms out and also gets lighter. So we want to make the image dark and zoom in so that when we hover the image can zoom out and get brighter. Once I see this, you will get the idea. So we can use a powerful CSS 3 property, which is transform. We actually already used that before, and now we're going to use it again. So in this case, we will scale the image. In fact, all of the images. We will scale them to like 1/15. And this means that the image will be, instead of 100%, it will be 115% big. So let's see this in practice. So these images have grown. They are bigger than they are supposed to be, and you see they even go out of the browser width. It's even bigger than the browser now, and we will fix that in a moment, because we don't want these images to be bigger than their container, which is meal photo. So right now the image kind of overflows its container. So what can we do about this? There's a nice little property called overflow, and when we set it to hidden, then that overflow will not be visible, and we just see the part of the image which is still inside of the container. So let's see. Alright, so this is exactly what we want. And now what we want is to change that transform property when we hover the image, right? So let's do exactly that. And maybe you already see where this is going. So what I'm doing now is meal, photo, image, and now we can also use this hover state for everything. This doesn't work only for links, even if we only use it for links until now, but it works really with every element. And so what do we want to happen? We want this transform to go back to normal, right? So we scale it to 1. Let's see if this works and if you get the idea. So this is what happens. Don't worry, we will put an animation there in a moment, but this is what happens. And you see there was actually like a white little line down there, and I actually can't tell you why that happens, but I know a good solution to that. So instead of scaling it until 1, I'm just going to scale it to 1.03. And this should solve the problem. And also I want to, of course, animate this transformation. So how can I do it? I say transition and then transform, and let's say half a second, 0.5 seconds. And this should already do the job. So this is exactly the same thing as we did with our links here, right? We defined the transition with the interval, and then with the hover state we said what would happen. So this is what we did right here. So let's check it out. Okay, this is very nice, right? This is really, really cool. Don't you think so? It's a beautiful effect. But we will go even further than this. So as I said in the beginning, we will make this image darker, and then as we hover it, we'll make it lighter. And that's quite easy to do. As we built the header, we learned how to make a background image darker, which was our hero image, right? And now let's try to make this image darker. And let me show you how we're going to do that. So if we set the opacity, yet another CSS property, you see you're using a lot of properties here. I mean, I'm covering almost everything that you need to know with just this website. So opacity 0.7, so this is 70%. And okay, just to show you, let me show you what this looks like. So this is kind of white now, and it's white because its background is white. So if we want to make this darker, we just put the background of this image to black, 0, 0, 0. So behind that image we now have a black container. And since this image is now opaque, it will get darker. Very well. This looks really great, right? And now we just have to animate the opacity here. So when we hover, we also want the opacity to change back to 1, which is 100%. And in order to animate it, we put it right here. So opacity 0.5 seconds. And now we should see both of the things animated. And here we go. Wow, this is really exciting, right? This looks so great. Let's see how simple this was. So I think the section is also done here. Another thing that I noticed when I was revisiting this section here was that we maybe need some space between this paragraph here and these columns. So what I'm going to do is to add some bottom margin to this paragraph. So it's, if you remember, it's the long copy class, and I will again make a little section here for that called futures. Alright, because where is it? So it's this class, but I don't want to make a margin to all long copy class element that we will use throughout the website. So again, I'm using the long copy inside of the section futures. So let me just copy this. You See, this is a very usual practice. You see section futures and then the long copy which is inside of that. And then we just specify its margin bottom and set it to 40 pixels. And now this looks much better, right? Okay, probably 40 was a little too much. Again, this is really designing in the browser, and it's really great. Yeah, this looks cool now. Don't you think so? So let me revisit the whole thing. We designed this section, everything beautiful. Then we did this section, and now we even have this powerful transition stuff. Wow, we've learned such a lot so far. A lot of CSS properties, and you should probably take note of them or copy them somewhere so that you have a whole list of things that you can do with CSS. So that's it for now, and maybe you want to take a break now, or you can just join me in the next lecture where we will design our next section. So see you there, and bye.